handling operations. We know that files are one of the nonlinear data structures. Just like trees and graphs are nonlinear data structures, in same way files are also nonlinear data structures. Generally, when we write a program, we run it on the console, and when we come out of that program, the output is lost. So whenever we want to save our output of program for the future reference, then in that case, it's good to write that output in a file, and that's the basic aim why file handling operations came into picture. So basically, when we write a program, we use keyboard as a default input device and monitor as a default output device. So data is flowing from keyboard to the monitor, considering monitor as a default output device. But in case of file handling operation, the input is coming from keyboard, but the data is written into the file. So that's why we have to see a program which implements all operations on file, like creating file, opening a file, reading contents from file, displaying the contents of file, searching for particular number in file, and so on. Now, before I directly get into program, I share my screen and I will show you how to perform these file handling operations. So the title here is there is a department which maintains a student information. So this file basically contains roll number, name, and division of a student. So we have to allow the user to add, delete information of student. Also, we want to display information of particular student. If record of student does not exist, then appropriate message should be displayed. That is, if user want to search a particular record. So if that record is present in a file, then we will display that record. But if that record is not present in a file, then we will show that the record does not exist. So system displays the student details in display operation, and we have to use a file as a data structure here. So sequential files are asked. So first of all, let's have a look on what are the basic things required to perform file handling operations. We all know that basically at the base level, there is a upstream class. So upstream is a main class from which these three classes are inherited, called OUpstream, IUpstream, and upstream class. OUpstream class is for creating the files and writing information to the file. So that is OF, right? Then we have IUpstream class, which is I for input, which is used for reading the information from file. And third class is upstream class, which is used for creating files and to perform read and write operation on a file. So just like IO stream class, we include and that performs both operations, input and output operation. So here, if we include upstream class, it will allow us to read the data from the file as well as to write the data into the file. Then next operations on file are like opening a file is very basic operation on file, because if we want to perform any operation on file, first thing is that file should be opened. So this is a syntax of open function in C++, where we need to pass a file name followed by mode. So of course, if I want to open the file, I must know which file is to be opened. That's why name of file is mandatory. And remember that when we are passing a file name, it must be passed in double quotes with proper extension if it is given. And the second parameter is mode. Mode specifies the reason, the purpose for which we are opening a file. There are different types of modes for file. iOS app mode. App stands for append mode. So whenever we append the contents in a file, they are returned at the end of the file. The next is ATE mode. So this opens the file for the output and then moves the read and write controls to the file's end. So after performing that operation, the control will be there at the end of file. Then next is in mode, which is used to open file in read mode. Next is out mode, which is used for opening file in a write mode. And next is truncate. So if file exists, the file element will be truncated prior to its opening. So before a file gets open, it will truncate the contents of file, and then file will be opened. So these are the basic modes in which file can be opened. Along with this, we want to know two more important operations on file: read operation and write operation. Now we know that we want to write data in a file. So generally it is good practice. Suppose in this program we want to write student information which is containing name, roll number and division. So what we will do is we will declare one structure which will have these three members: name, roll number and division. Now what is this char star reference to the object? So basically this will be object of that structure type which we want to write in a file. And second parameter is size of object. It means how many bytes we want to write in the file. So here read function takes two parameter. So first is what? First is object of a class, or we can say object of a user defined data type, maybe structure, which we want to write in a file, followed by how many bytes we want to write in a file. And second is a write function. Again, I want to write, it means which contents are to be written in a file. So same parameters are needed. First is again reference to the object which we want to write in a file, and second parameter would be how many bytes we want to write in a file. Then the next function is EOF function, stands for end of file. So this function returns non-zero value if there are no more data to be read from an input file stream. And this function will return zero if end of file has encountered. Okay, so it will return non-zero value. So non-zero value is true. It means there are no more data to be read. So basically when EOF returns true, it means the end of file has been encountered. And otherwise, if this EOF function return false, it means there is more data to be read from the file. And at the end, after performing all operations on the file must be closed in a proper way. So for that purpose, we use fclose function. Fclose function takes one parameter, that is a file pointer. So a file which is pointed by that file pointer will be closed. And this is good practice to close the file after performing any operation on that file. Now let's get into the program and see how the program for file handling can be implemented. So I hope my screen is visible. So in the beginning of the program, we include necessary header file. The thing to note here is upstream is the most important header file because we have to deal with file handling operations here. As stated in the problem statement, we have to save the information of student which contains roll number, division and name. So here we have taken class student with three data members: roll number, division and name, which is of 10 characters. Then we have taken two functions: void take, which reads the input from the user, like you will ask the user to enter the name, roll number and division. And we have another function while put, which is used for displaying information of student on the screen. So these are basically read and display functions of the student class. Now in main, we have to display choices to the user. So main function first cout will be a switch case, because this program will be switch case driven program where we will show the choices to the user like create and write, then read, then search, append, delete. So these are the choices which will be displayed to the user, and user will enter his option, like which operation you want to perform. So once we read the user choice, we will apply the switch case, appropriate switch case. Suppose if user enters 1, we will go for creation and writing contents into file and so on. So case number 1 is for creating and writing the contents in a file. So as we are writing information of students, so instead of writing the objects of class one by one, we will ask the user how many students record he want to write in a file. So he will enter that information in n. So for n students, we have to write records in our file. Now, instead of taking individual variables like student S1, S2, S3, and so on, here we have created array of class object, that is S of 10. So at the max, we can store information of 10 students in this case. Loop counter variable will be used for repeatedly calling this fwrite function. And of course, if I want to deal with file, I must have an object of fstream class. So here we declare object of fstream class called fp. So fp is basically object of this fstream class. Any operation of file must be called using the object of fstream class. So that's why for opening a file, we write fp.open, and we already know that open has got two parameters. If I want to open a file, I must know which file is to be opened. So that is file name as a first parameter. And second is a mode in which the file has to be opened. The mode specifies for which operation we want to open a file. So here file is opened in output mode. It means we want to write data in a file. So we know fp.open, what this function does. If student.txt is in existence, it will be opened in a write mode because the mode specified here is out. Now in this case, we have not given complete path like C colon or D colon slash some directory name and so on. So here it is considered that the student.txt is saved in the default working directory. So if you have some other location where your file is saved, then we need to specify a complete path here. So please remember, because yes, the file path will matter while opening a file. Now next, for n number of students, we have to write the data in a file. So we have used for loop for n number of students here, and for each of the student, we are calling take function, which is reading the information of student like roll number, division, and name. So first of all, it will read it for s of 0 dot take. So for first student, information will be read. And now that information we want to write in a file. So we already know write is a function which is used for writing the contents in a file, and it takes two parameters. First is reference to the object which we want to write in a file. And second is how many bytes we want to write in a file. So we are well aware about size of function which returns size of the passed parameter, and here the parameter passed is s of I, so it will return number of bytes required for this class object s of I. So this is for first student. Now I will be incremented by 1. Next you will read the information for second student and you will write that information into the file. Here fp is pointing to student.txt. So what file name we need to specify only once, and once we get the file pointer, next we have to just use that file pointer instead of file name. So this is case 1 where file is getting opened and we are writing the data in a file. Then second case here is to read the data from a file. So for reading the data from a file, we have to again create object of fstream class. So here we have created object fstream fr, and then we need to open the file. So same file name, but now you will be opening this file in input mode, that is read mode. And again, after reading data from a file, temporarily it should be saved somewhere, right? So we have taken this S1 object in which the data will be saved temporarily. Okay, so here S1 information you will display on the screen. So likewise, how many times the contents of file should be read. So here, while fr.read, the pointer passed here is s1, comma size of s1. So what it is suggesting is what is to be read. So object s1 is to be read, of which size is given over here. Okay, so these many times we are reading the information from a file, and we are just displaying this information. Now, instead of this particular part, fr dot read part, very simple option we can have over here is while not fr dot eof. So while end of file is not encountered, you will simply call the fread function and you will display contents of file. So this is also one option which we can use for reading the contents from the file. So it's up to you whether you want to use EOF function, end of file function, or whether you want to use fread function. But remember, in both the cases, file must be opened in read mode. The next function is a search function. Now, next case is search case. So search operation on file will work in a similar way as that of linear search. We know linear search is where we start searching for specific record from the beginning of the file. Okay. So here also what we are doing is, first of all, we ask the user that which roll number he want to search. So user will enter that roll number. Again, we have to perform search operation. So we have to create object of fstream class. We have created object of fstream class, and then we opened file in read mode because we just have to check whether particular roll number is present in a file or not. So again here, while end of file is not encountered, we are checking whether roll number entered by user is matching with one of the record stored in a file. So how we are comparing this? Here you can see the reference passed is to object S. So if S dot roll equal to R, then we say that record successfully found, and then we are displaying information of that student, and we set flag variable to 1. After coming out of this while loop, it means even though end of file has encountered, but still if value of flag variable remains 0, it means the record which you want to search in a file is not present. So here simply flash the message that record not found. Okay, so that's about search. Case 4 is related to append. We know in write operation, the control is set at the beginning of the file and the contents will be written in the file from the beginning. But we have another case append, and when we open file in append mode, the control, the pointer will be set at the end of the file. That's why whatever contents we are writing, they will be appended at the end of the file. Okay, so append is same like write, but in case of append, the pointer is set at the end, so the contents will be written at the end. So here also we create object of fstream class. FA, it means file pointer created for append operation. You can give any name, but choose the good one. So fa.open, so open the file in append mode. Ask the user like how many records you want to write in a file. So we will apply one for loop which will go for those many times. So n1 in our case. So these many times we need to read the record. Already we have defined this take function for reading the information from the user. And then we call fa.write again with two parameter. Which object is to be written? S of I, which is just read from the user. And second parameter is size, how many bytes we want to write. So this is about case 4 where we are appending data into the file. And now case 5 is delete, and yes, delete operation is bit tricky. Now just imagine a file where records are stored one after each other. If I have 10 students in a class, their information will be saved like student 1 information followed by student 2, student 3, and so on. Imagine a scenario if I delete record of 5th student, then remaining records like after 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, these records must be shifted to the left side so that the memory space which is deleted for record file will be actually utilized. But shifting is again costly operation, so we use other trick. So let's see what trick we have used. Now here we have taken two files. We have created two objects of this fstream class. First is fp and another is fp1. And the roll number which user want to delete will be read in del roll variable. Okay, so what we do first of all here is we have created object of student class, that is S object is created. Now we know the file with which we are dealing so far is student.txt. Now from this file record has to be deleted. Okay, so I open this student.txt file in input mode, that is read mode, and what trick I am using here is I have taken another file pointer where I am opening another file student.txt and this file is opened in output mode. Remember, the original file is opened in read mode and other new file which I want to create is now opened in a output mode, that is write mode. So I will ask the user which roll number he want to delete, and again while end of original file is not encountered. Okay, so while end of original file is not encountered, what I am doing, I am checking the records of original file one by one. So here we can see the pointer to the record in original file is S. So I am just checking the roll number which is to be deleted, is it matching with the roll number which is currently pointed by this S object. If it is pointed by S object, if it is matching, then I simply say that record found. I am displaying the information and I set flag equal to 1. So whenever the hit is made, whenever the record is matched, I am not writing information of that student into another file called student.txt. Okay. If it is not matching, then only I am writing it into another file. So what is meaning of this while loop? Except roll number to be deleted, all other records will be written into new file. Consider there are 5 records in a file and say for example, I want to delete third record. Okay. So del roll is 3 because roll number 3 is what I want to delete, and records are stored sequentially 1 2 3 4 5. So s dot roll, it will first of all point to whom? It will point to first roll number. So whether 1 equal to 3, no, it is not matching. So it will come in else part and it will write information of roll number 1 into stud.txt, which is pointed by yup-p1. Then again, whether end of file has encountered? No. So again, it will go to the next record, that is 2. Whether 2 equal to 3? No. Now it will write record number 2 into your new file called stud.txt. Now again, end of file has not encountered 3. Okay, 3 equal to 3. Oh yes, it is equal. So it will simply print the message record found. It will display the information and will set flag to 1. Again, whether end of file has encountered? No. Now S is pointing to roll number 4. Whether 4 equal to 3? No. So now record number 4 will be also written into file. Again, record number 5. Whether 5 equal to 3? No. So record 5 will be also written to this stud.txt. What it means is except roll number to be deleted, you are writing all remaining records to the new file called student.txt. So after copying records into new file except roll number to be deleted, we are removing original file called student.txt. And now the trick is we rename this stud.txt with student.txt. So this was the new file which we have just created and copied all records except roll number to be deleted, and student.txt was our old file. Now that file has been deleted. So here we are renaming. So in renaming, we pass old file name, comma, new file name. So here stud.txt will be renamed with student.txt. And even after coming here, if value of flag remains 0, so it simply means that record which user want to delete is not present in the file. So it will check this condition and will break from the loop. So while choice is not equal to 0, so unless user enters 0, we are simply repeating the choices. We are displaying the choices. We are asking the user to enter the choice and repeat the operation that he desires to perform. So this is how program for file handling can be done. The main thing to remember here is we have upstream class to include. Every time we want to perform file handling operation, object of upstream class must be created. Important functions are open, which takes two parameter, file to be opened with its mode. Another function is read, which takes two parameter, which object is to be written and what is its size. Write function with the same parameter. EOF function, which is used to check whether end of file has been encountered or not. And we have last function called fclose, which means the file is to be closed by passing the pointer of upstream class, we can use fclose and then yes, file will be closed. So this is how operations on file can be performed. Thank you.